Welcome back to Bizarre Boulevard, where we delve into the darkest corners of human depravity. Today, we'll revisit the shocking story of the infamous House of Bones. But as the investigation has unfolded, we've discovered that this gruesome tale goes far deeper than we ever imagined. So this is an update to a story that we did last year in July. And it was a very short story that we did, but more of a presentation. But it was interesting to me. This is one of the few stories that really kind of threw me off. But just kind of give you a recap on the House of Bones. So on July 11th, 2023, FBI agents, they went to this quiet apartment in Mount Washington, Kentucky. What they found inside would make even the most hardened investigators recoil in horror. So James Knott, a 39-year-old Kentucky resident, greeted the agents with the chilling statement that only my dead friends live here. Little did the agents know how literal that statement would prove to be. Now, as they searched the apartment, it was just a horrible scene started to unfold. Approximately 40 human skulls adorn the living space. Not as mere decorations either, but as grim trophies in a twisted collection this guy had. So it was spinal cords, femurs, and hip bones. That was all included in this. But believe it or not, the horror didn't even end there. So a Harvard medical school bag, innocuous in any other setting, took on a sinister significance amidst this whole event that was unfolding. This seemingly mundane item would prove to be the thread that, when pulled, would unravel a conspiracy spanning multiple states and respected institutions. So now I want to enter a guy whose name really didn't get mentioned. I mean, when this first came out, I never heard of this guy. So his name is Cedric Lodge. Cedric is the former morgue manager at Harvard Medical School. For years, Lodge had been secretly pilfering body parts from cadavers donated for medical research. These weren't just any remains. They were the final gifts of those who had selflessly donated their bodies to science, only to have their generosity grotesquely betrayed. As the investigators started digging deeper, they started to uncover a vast network of grave robbers and bone traders, if you could believe that. At the center of this web, get this, was a guy named Jeremy Pauley, a Pennsylvania resident who acted as a broker in this grisly marketplace. Pauley and Knott communicated under the ominous pseudonym William Burke. Now, William Burke, that's a nod to an infamous 19th century grave robber. So yeah, that's crazy. But they discussed the sale of human remains as casually, this is on Facebook, as one might discuss the weather. The Facebook messages and PayPal transactions left a digital trail of breadcrumbs for the FBI to follow. But Knott wasn't content with private dealings. This guy, in a what I would call a brazen display of disregard for both law and human dignity, he openly advertised human remains for sale on his public Facebook page. It was as if he's just daring the authorities to catch him. But as the investigation expanded, it became clear that this wasn't just a local issue. The network stretched from the hallowed halls of Harvard to the mortuary tables of Arkansas, with tendrils reaching into the dark corners of the internet with just crazy commerce thrives. I mean, this is crazy. These guys are on Facebook. They're using PayPal. They don't care. I mean, this is really, really interesting. You know, and it's almost like, you know, when you would hear people say, you know, well, maybe you've never heard it, but I have, that not necessarily be so concerned about what the things you don't see, the things you don't see, but the things you do see. This is in plain sight, and this is insane. So all the way from Harvard, man. But the just to kind of keep going, the arrest of Knott, Lodge, and Pauly were just the beginning. So as prosecutors, build a case, more disturbing details continue to emerge. How many more are involved in this trade? How long has it been going on? And perhaps most chilling, whose remains ended up in these twisted collections? So you got to think about that. That people, it's big. Now, here's what's interesting. So this year, April 2024, this stuff's been winding down. So the gears of justice began to turn. Denise Lodge, the 64-year-old wife of former Harvard Medical School morgue manager Cedric Lodge, stood before the U.S. District Court in the Middle District of Pennsylvania with a solemn face. She pleaded guilty to interstate transportation of stolen goods. Now, her admission painted a grim picture of a just grim online marketplace. So between 2018 and 2020, Denise Lodge had been negotiating the sale of human remains, hands, feet, spines, and even dissected human faces. Oh, good grief. These weren't just anonymous body parts. They were once the final donation of those who sought for medical science. This is crazy. While Denise Lodge's fate was sealed, her husband, Cedric, that's the guy I was saying about earlier, maintained his innocence. His trial happened in 2024, August, I believe. Haven't gotten the real word on what actually has happened with that. But this guy's still saying he's innocent. After everything that has come out, you would think that, you say, okay, well, let me just, take my medicine here because, obviously you did it, you've been caught. It's just interesting to me that they get an opportunity to plead not guilty when obviously he did do it. So, but but maybe these guys are trying to protect somebody else. Maybe that's what the deal is, and that's what makes it so bizarre because, they say, okay, this is all part of a bigger deal, right? And but nobody ever says what the bigger deal really is, right? So what we know with Cedric Lodge, of course, he's accused of stealing human remains from the institution, selling them online. He's pleaded not guilty. His case has been reset, essentially. I just looked it up here just because I didn't think about that earlier. But essentially, at some point, he's gonna, I'm assuming, be found guilty of what he did because his wife has already given her testimony. So that's why I say I don't even know why it's even, a big deal. But he's got some co-defendants with him, Katrina McLean and Joshua Taylor. So he's got a few people that's with him. That obviously all these people are involved in what's going on here with the trade of these body parts and everything. So I just think it's really, really insane what the deal is with that. But now, but what about James Knott, the man whose grotesque collection started the whole journey down this rabbit hole? His story took an unexpected turn. So on December 1st, 2023, he stood before the judge and pleaded guilty, but not to crimes related to this collection, to the bones. Instead, he admitted to illegal possession of a firearm as a prohibited person. So he has a felony conviction, so he's not supposed to have a gun. So the consequences of this plea are pretty severe. So now he faces up to 15 years in prison, a $250,000 fine and 3 years of supervised release. As we speak, he still remains in the custody of U.S. Marshals, so awaiting his final sentence. So I think he's probably, they're waiting to see if he's going to talk, if he's going to give up names and so forth. And maybe he has. Maybe they're trying to protect him. Who knows? But I find this so bizarre, But the question still lingers, what are the human remains that are found in Knott's possession? Will he face additional charges? How deep does this network truly go? What is the network? That's the thing. You hear about missing people, missing body parts. Unfortunately, somebody died and then they took the person's heart or their lungs out and the family doesn't know and nobody knows anything. We don't know what happens. It gets blacked out in the media. So we have to really dig for it and try to find. But interesting case, interesting update to it. So now this is going to conclude my, podcast for this particular subject. But I just want to go back over it with you guys because this story had a lot of interest from some of our viewers. So, in which we're grateful for that. That gives us an idea of what direction we need to go in. So just remember the wheels of justice, they turn slowly, but they do turn. And as they do, we at Bizarre Boulevard will be here. I'll be here shining a light on the shadows, bringing you the truth no matter how disturbing. So thank you for tuning in to Bizarre Boulevard. Please subscribe to our YouTube, subscribe to our Spotify, wherever you find Bizarre Boulevard. You can even visit our website, bizarreboulevard.com. But yeah, strange case. If you know of any strange cases or you want us to follow any of them, please don't hesitate to put in the comment section. There's maybe some things I don't even know about, and I'd be more than happy to look into them for you and possibly do some kind of podcast or the episode on Bizarre Boulevard. So nonetheless, thank you guys for tuning in and keep it bizarre, man.